Here's a full-flowing origin story for your timeline. The Amazing Spider-Man #1. The year is 2009. New York City buzzes with life, streets alive with yellow cabs, honking horns, and people rushing through a world that never stops. For most, it's just another year. But for a boy named Peter Parker, 13 years old and already carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, it's the beginning of something much bigger. Peter wasn't like the other kids at Midtown Junior High. Where others played sports or ran in packs of friends, Peter buried himself in books. Science was his comfort. Microscopes, equations, circuits. He saw beauty where others only saw boring homework. But it made him a target. Flash Thompson and his buddies didn't see a future genius. They saw a punching bag. And Peter, skinny and awkward, never fought back. His home life wasn't much easier. His parents were gone, taken from him too early, and he lived in a modest house in Queens with Uncle Ben and Aunt May. They were kind, gentle, but old enough that Peter often felt like the world had passed him by before he'd even had a chance to enter it. He wanted something more. He wanted to matter. And then came the field trip. The halls of Oscorp Laboratories gleamed with chrome and glass, a temple of science in the heart of the city. Peter's eyes were wide the moment he walked in. Displays of genetic research, machines whirring with experiments that seemed pulled from the future. It was everything he dreamed of. He lingered longer than the others, his nose practically pressed to the glass of a chamber filled with genetically altered spiders. The guide's words barely registered. Genetic manipulation, enhanced DNA, the future of medicine. All Peter heard was possibility. And then one of the spiders slipped free. It landed silently on his hand, so small, so ordinary. Peter barely noticed before the sting came. Sharp. Hot. It lanced up his arm like fire, and he staggered. Nobody else saw it. Not Flash, not the teacher, not even the guide. Just Peter, clutching his hand, his vision swimming. He told himself it was nothing, just a spider bite. But that night, everything changed. He woke drenched in sweat, heart pounding like a drum. The world looked different. Sharper, brighter, louder. He could hear cars from blocks away, feel the vibrations of footsteps through the floorboards. His hands stuck to the wall when he stumbled. His feet clung to the ceiling when he tried to steady himself. Panic set in, until he realized what it meant. He wasn't just Peter Parker anymore. The next few weeks were chaos. His strength skyrocketed. He crushed doorknobs without meaning to. His reflexes sharpened. He caught books before they hit the floor, dodged bullies' punches without even thinking. And when he tested himself in the privacy of his room, building crude gad scraps, he discovered he could sling webs, climbing walls and swinging across alleys with homemade shooters strapped to his wrists. For the first time in his life, Peter Parker wasn't powerless, but power changes people. At first, Peter used it for fun. He wrestled under a mask at local arenas, showing off his strength for quick cash. He performed tricks in alleys, laughing as he leapt rooftops no one else could dream of. He wasn't bullied anymore. He was untouchable. Until the night he made a mistake. He was leaving the arena after another flashy stunt when a thief ran past, chased by a guard. The guard shouted for help. Peter could have stopped the man with one web, one move. Instead, he shrugged. "Not my problem," he muttered, walking away. Hours later, the world shattered. Police cars screamed down his street. Neighbors crowded around the Parker house. And there on the ground was Uncle Ben, his chest still, his eyes closed, a gunshot wound staining his shirt. The thief. The same man Peter had let run. Peter caught him himself, tracking him down in the shadows of the city, webbing him against a brick wall. He tore the mask from his face and saw the truth. And the truth crushed him. His arrogance, his selfishness, it had cost him everything. Uncle Ben's words echoed through his soul, words he had taken for granted until now. With great power comes great responsibility. From that night on, Peter Parker was gone. In his place stood Spider-Man. Not for fame, not for fortune, but because he had to. Because the world needed someone who could protect the helpless, someone who could stand between the innocent and the darkness. And so at 13 years old, the Amazing Spider-Man was born. The city didn't know it yet, but their greatest hero had just taken his first steps into the long, hard road ahead. To be continued. Do you want me to make Amazing Spider-Man #2 be about Peter's first true villain fight? Maybe a young Vulture or Shocker? Or keep it small scale at first with street crime. Perfect. Let's continue your saga right where you left off. Here's a long, continuous narrative for Spider-Man One Bad Day Part 3, set in 2011 with Peter at 15 years old. Spider-Man One Bad Day Part 3. The night air feels heavier now. After Puma, after Black Cat, after hearing Captain Stacy whisper about Kingpin, I can't shake the feeling that the city is pulling me in deeper, threading me into something I can't crawl out of. But there's no turning back. Black Cat is still out there, and this time she's not slipping away. I track her scent of perfume and faint traces of claw marks across rooftops, through alleys, until finally I catch her leaping through a half-finished skyscraper near Midtown. She's fast, smooth, a shadow with silver hair gleaming under the moon. "Round two, Spider?" she teases, flipping onto a steel beam like she's dancing in the sky. Not a round, just the end of the fight you ran from. I swing in hard, shooting webs, forcing her into defense. She slashes and dodges, but this time I don't hold back. I've studied her movements, her tricks, her rhythm. We crash onto the scaffolding, my webs tangling her feet. She claws free, lunges, but I twist her momentum and slam her against a pillar, cocooning her arms in webbing. She struggles, snarling, but the fight's gone. "You can't cage a cat forever," she smirks. "Good thing I only need to cage you for one night," I reply, tightening the webbing and leaving her for the cops. One enemy down, too many left. Hours later, I hear a different kind of chaos. Music. Laughter. The strange echo of a voice that doesn't sound natural. I find the source under the glow of a striped tent set up in the middle of a closed-off street, like a carnival dropped right into the heart of the city. People are gathered, swaying, eyes glazed like puppets. Ringmaster. Maynard T-Bolt. His bright green top hat glows under a spotlight, his swirling hypnotic wheel gleaming on a cane. His voice drips with command as he leads civilians like zombies to steal from shops, empty wallets, hand him their valuables with smiles on their faces. "Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. The city is yours to give." I swing in, cutting the act short with a web line that knocks his hat clean off. "Hate to break it to you, Ringmaster, but this isn't a carnival. This is a robbery." He spins his cane, the swirl flashing. My head feels heavy, my vision bending. My body wants to obey him, to kneel, to give up. But the spider sense screams louder, pulling me back. I fire a web straight across the spinning swirl, shattering it. He gasps, his hold over the crowd snapping. Civilians stagger, dazed but alive. Ringmaster snarls, charging with a whip, but I yank it away and plaster him to his own striped tent. "The show's over, Maynard. Try Vegas." 2 down. But the city doesn't sleep, and neither can I. Explosions shake the docks. Fire scorches the sky. I sprint across rooftops until I find him. Luke Carlisle, the Mad Bomber. A man with a smirk and a belt lined with enough explosives to take down half the harbor. He laughs as crates erupt in fireballs, flames painting the water red. "Kingpin pays well for a little chaos," he shouts, tossing another bomb. Kingpin. Always Kingpin. I swing in, dodging explosions, webbing bombs midair, and hurling them into the river before they can detonate. Carlisle launches more, his hands a blur, but I weave through them, closing distance. One good kick knocks him sprawling. "You're not blowing up my city," I growl, webbing his bombs to his chest before ripping the detonator free. He thrashes, cursing Kingpin, cursing me, until he's webbed to a dock post, surrounded by melted crates. 3 down. But the night isn't finished with me yet. Because behind Carlisle's madness, behind Black Cat's heists, behind Ringmaster's hypnotics, there's a man pulling strings. And tonight I finally see him face to face. Tombstone. Lonnie Lincoln. Pale skin like carved stone, eyes like knives, a body built like a wall. He steps out from the shadows of the warehouse, arms crossed, a grim smile on his lips. "Kid," he rumbles, "you're making a lot of noise. Noise that Kingpin doesn't like. And when Kingpin doesn't like something, I fix it." I fire first, web snapping out, but Tombstone doesn't flinch. He tears through them, grabs me mid-swing, and slams me into the concrete hard enough to crack it. My lungs rattle, my vision swims. He's stronger than he looks, stronger than I thought, but I'm faster. I roll free, pepper him with web shots, blinding him just long enough to leap onto his back. I wrap every ounce of webbing I've got, binding his arms, legs, chest. He roars, shattering some, but I don't stop until he's pinned to a steel beam, snarling like an animal. "This isn't over, Spider-Man," he hisses, eyes blazing. "You can't stop Kingpin. Nobody can." I stare at him, chest heaving, knowing he's right. I can stop him for tonight. But tomorrow? Tomorrow, the bad day continues. 4 down, too many left. To be continued in Part 4. Do you want Part 4 to focus on Spider-Man confronting Kingpin directly? Or would you like it to escalate with Kingpin sending multiple villains, maybe Rhino returning, plus new hired guns, before the final confrontation?
Talking to him in the bar.
Yeah, I know what he thought. He thought it'd be all good. He was under a shade and sitting in the damn chair all day.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't...
Got it. Here's Amazing Spider-Man number 1.5, set in 2009, focusing entirely on Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius, and the creation of his mechanical arms. No Spider-Man appears in this one. Amazing Spider-Man number 1.5, The Birth of Dr. Octopus. The lab smelled of burning metal and ozone, a chemical haze clinging to the cold, sterile air. Sparks flew from the half-finished arms, arcs of electricity dancing along polished steel like tiny lightning storms. Otto Octavius wiped sweat from his brow, his glasses fogged, but his hands, steady, precise, continued to tighten bolts and thread wires through the hydraulics. "Just a few more adjustments," he muttered, eyes gleaming behind lenses. Then perfection. For months, he'd been obsessed. Not with fame, not with glory. No, Otto was after something purer, control. A way to extend the limits of his own mind, his own body, to reach farther than anyone else. And these arms, fused directly to his nervous system, would give him that power. The first arm whirred to life, servo motors hissing. Otto flexed his fingers experimentally, lifting a wrench and rotating it in the air with unnerving precision. "Yes! Yes," he whispered, a smile creeping across his face. "It's responding exactly as I designed." The second arm snapped into place, swinging with the fluidity of a living limb. Otto felt a thrill, a tingle running down his spine. With each connection, each neural link, he could feel his mind merging with the machinery, a harmony of flesh and metal. Then the third arm clicked in, a silent whine echoing as hydraulics hissed. Otto paused. He stared at the arm, testing its strength, and realized he could lift more than a ton, bend steel with his bare mind controlling the metal fingers. And then came the fourth. When it finally locked into place, Otto sat back, trembling with exhilaration. 4 mechanical limbs, as agile and as responsive as his own, but stronger, faster, unstoppable. He flexed them, spinning in a half circle, marveling at the precision. He could reach across a room in seconds, lift machinery, manipulate tools, even defend himself. His thoughts darkened as he watched the arms move, a dream of superiority, a vision of respect long denied by colleagues who had mocked his theories, a city that had ignored his brilliance. He saw himself rising above them, untouchable. Otto Octavius stood in the center of his lab, 4 gleaming arms stretching outward, humming softly like predatory metal tentacles. The lab lights reflected off polished steel, and in those reflections, he saw not just a man, but a force of nature, one that would bend the world to his intellect. "Dr. Octopus," he whispered to himself, almost tasting the name. "The world will remember me." A small spark flew from a power conduit, startling him, and he realized this was only the beginning. The birth of a legend, a terror, a genius who had fused flesh and steel, and nothing, not even the city, would ever be the same. If you want, I can continue this with Amazing Spider-Man number 0.6.